What's going on, guys? It's Justice here and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be talking through a bunch of old school RuneScape goals that I've been working through, and I've also got a ton more I want to box off. I think a fantastic thing about this game is just being able to make your own goals, make your own kind of journey, and go out and try and pursue it. I think RuneScape's probably one of the best MMORPGs out there to enable this sort of gameplay, this sort of playstyle. There's so much freedom and flexibility with what to do. I mean, there's probably just as much flexibility endgame, really. When I was looking at like kind of money making per hour and things, which is like one of the main things you go for on Mainscape, to kind of pursue gear and get more powerful and increase that power creep on your account. There's such a balance in terms of like money making throughout this game with lots of different activities that you can do, and I really appreciate that. A lot of the gear, a lot of the content is fresh. They have clear power creeps when they bring out new gear to go for. But looking at all the money making methods, they all seem pretty in line with each other, between like 1.5 to 4 mil on average, until you get to like the true end game kind of raid content. But overall, lots of variety lots of variety in the game, lots of different goals to go for. The way I've been making goals on my account to date is thinking about some of these new Grandmaster quests that Diaries have released on this game, which some of these Grandmaster quests that have been released on this game, which are really kind of groundbreaking, really fresh content. They usually unlock like either an entire new zone or some really nice new piece of PVM or / skilling content. So I kind of said to myself, right, I want to do a couple of these big new Grandmaster quests. And by doing that, it kind of rounds out your character quite well, because you have to go and get like, circa 70 stats in various different things, 70 to 80 stats. And that allows you to then go and do these Grandmaster quests that tend to be, which are really substantial. It's almost like a DLC to any other game. Some of these quests can be like 4 to 5 hours long, which is just crazy to think about. So to name a couple that I decided to put on my list to do, and I'm using RuneLite at the moment, and I use the notes page, and I just basically whack out any goals that come into my mind. Streaming helps with that as well, so people are like writing down ideas about, oh, you should get like 83 construction to get a jewelry box and a rejuvenating pool in your house, which I've got on my list to do now, which I really want to pursue. Worked out that's going to cost like 12.6 million GP, I think, across about 6 hours. So but it unlocks like some really good stuff, and I'll be doing the mythical cape stands. So I can do that because one of my Grandmaster quests that I decided to pursue was Dragon Slayer 2. But before that was Song of the Elves. So I'll go through that first. So Song of the Elves is the quest that Diaries released on Old School to unlock Prifddinas, the new zone that was already out on RuneScape 3. I have a bit of footage on that on my previous video of me doing the Song of the Elves end boss fight, which was the Fragment of Seren. It really blew me away in terms of the effort that Diaries put into that quest, in the different boss fights that were within it, the exploration, and yeah, the Fragment of Seren, like the mechanics, battle against resources in my inventory with 80 stats. It was extremely fun to do. So completed Song of the Elves quest. Bad thing about that quest was they really amplified the light puzzles from Morning's End. If anyone's played RuneScape before and gone through the Morning's End quest, they've like quadrupled how many light puzzles were in there. But luckily the Quest Helper plugin really helps with that, and it does help me enjoy quests a lot more on Old School RuneScape with that plugin. But after completing it, went and it did unlock the Gauntlet, which is in the northwestern corner of Prifddinas. Really cool looking area. So the Gauntlet is like a mix of dungeoneering and PVM effectively. It has resource collection within there. You want to optimize what resources you're collecting. It's procedurally generated 7x7 kind of dungeon in there. Essentially you collect resources, and then with those resources you craft gear and weaponry, and it's a fight against time. You have, in the normal Gauntlet, there's a 10-minute timer on there, which I really like, and because the procedural generation, you really don't know what resources you're going to come across, but it's enough time to consistently be successful. After crafting the tier 1 of these like gear and weapons, you can then craft tier 2, which is attuned, and then you can do perfected gear as well. There's demi bosses in there that drop the resource required to make perfected weaponry, and yeah, it's just really cool. And once you do that, you then have to kill Hunlef, which is the main boss fight within the Gauntlet, who has really cool mechanics. Speeds up his attacks as he gets like sub 25% health or something, And yeah, it's just really, really interesting content. And I feel like it's quite self-rewarding as well, because as you go through, you can unlock the armor seeds. And with that whole piece of content, they brought out full crystal armor and an upgraded crystal bow, the Bofa, as it's referred to, the bow of Ferrodin, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But I've always loved the idea of using crystal bows, and obviously they got superseded by the blowpipe quite early on in this game, and it became pretty irrelevant, but just the animation of it was amazing, so I'm really glad they've revitalized that content and improved on it. So looking forward, definitely one of my goals is to get the full crystal armor with the Bofa, or at least the crystal armor at first with the Venator bow, which I'll come into later. So that's the Song of the Elves quest. The second big quest that I did was Dragon Slayer 2, which I have completed, and that unlocks Vorkath, believe it or not. During the quest, I thought Vorkath was going to be the end boss fight in that quest, but it turns out Galvek, I think his name is the end boss fight, which again had interesting mechanics in itself, was easier than Vorkath. In the quest itself, Vorkath is in a story mode difficulty, so they do story mode difficulties, and even then it's still, it's not too challenging, it's a bit of a cakewalk, but overall it's like challenging enough to feel like a good quest boss fight. It turns out after you've completed the quest, it does increase and ramp up to the normal difficulty level, which is a lot harder. But once I got that down, I started getting consistent kills in there, and I'll have some footage up of those kills in this video now. Really cool boss fight, and yeah, Vorkath is out on Oldschool RuneScape, has been for a long time now, and that is the new boss that's coming out in RuneScape 3 on the 20th of November. It's an interesting boss fight on Old School. I think it's easier to use ranged weaponry here, but melee seems to be really powerful, and because I've got 99 strength, it made sense to do that. There's a weapon called a Dragon Rider Lance that's out in Old School that has like 20%, I think, increased damage and attack against dragons. So that's what I'm using here. I have run off because it's easier to be walking around in this boss fight to dodge the mechanics. Vorkath has a few different mechanics, one that takes your prayer off. Most of the hits are magic if you're in melee distance, so therefore I have a magic prayer up. I have a super anti-fire potion in order to allow me to use a Dragon Defender still, which increases my accuracy. And I'm also using a Serpentine helmet because Vorkath has a green fireball attack, which applies poison or venom on you. With a Serpentine helmet, which I believe is from Zulrah, that I've killed a few times in the past, that has protection against venom. So yeah, pretty good item to have on the sort of mid-game level that I am. And also, Vorkath is an undead dragon, it seems, and therefore the imbued salve amulet, which I've also got, helps a lot here and increases your damage output. Overall, really good boss fight. The quest as a whole was probably one of the favorite that I've done on this game. Again, really nice Grandmaster quest to pursue. Really lengthy as well, it turns out. I thought it was going to be a lot quicker when I was going through it, but then there were some substantial areas of it. So it probably took me, 3 to 4 hours as well, or something like that, kind of casually playing through it. Again, like DLC content, it was really, really enjoyable. They've made like lots of dedicated areas just for that quest as well, which I appreciate. And then Galvek, I don't know if that's like a repeatable fight. I don't think it is, but that fight in itself was quite interesting. You're kind of fighting through all the dragons, kind of doing agility courses to jump over the ships because your army's being destroyed and your ships are being destroyed. And you end up fighting against a dragon called Galvek that was created by the Dragonkin. Really cool boss fight. It reminds me a little bit of the Queen Black Dragon. There was one part of the fight where you have to dodge the flames that are coming across the ship and you have to go through the gaps just like QBD. I was expecting that to happen a lot more to make it more challenging, but it didn't. So overall, pretty easy boss fight, but again, interesting, and but again, enough mechanics to make it interesting, especially for a quest fight. So yeah, again, had a lot of fun doing that quest. So that unlocks Vorkath, which at the moment I believe can be around 3 mil GP per hour, which to RS3 right now with the ratio is about 31 million GP for any RS3 watchers out there. So pretty decent, and it's fairly chill. It's a strange kind of balance with PVM on this game with Vorkath anyway. You can literally get one banged at any point. It's quite chill, but only if you dodge everything. Like, I know it sounds weird, but it's fine once you get into the rhythm of it, but you can easily die at any point still. Like, if you just a lapse of concentration and, you don't walk far enough away, you don't understand the tick system, or whatever, you don't walk far enough away during the poison pool phase, those fireballs can just one-shot you pretty much, or hit you double 40 really quickly. And he also does a slow kind of AoE fireball attack that you can see quite obviously when he does that, and that will land where you last were, and it has a 2 square radius. If you're within that 2 squares, you're dead. So, you know, I can see it being enjoyable and quite relaxing to farm. It's effectively just a really good Slayer boss, because if you get a blue dragon tash, you can go and kill Vorkath. So yeah, really good content. So my next goals after that, I've just been dipping into lots of different content. Desert Treasure 2 is the next Grandmaster quest I would like to complete, but I have a few skills I need to get up for that, such as 70 thieving, I believe, and I need like 75 fire making. So I've been dabbling into Winter Todd a little bit here and there, trying to go for the Pyromancer outfit, which increases your fire making XP, and also just kind of semi-AFKing that event, doing it on a mass world in order to get enough points. I think you need to reach the threshold of 500 points in order to get the supply crate reward and get the chunk of fire making XP drop at the end of the event when it completes. The whole community coming together, doing that mass event, it's really cool. That's what MMORPGs are all about. I've heard there are some, I've heard Desert Treasure 2 just steps it up again, like even more with the quest boss fights. I think there's like 3 or 4 like really substantial boss fights in that quest. So that, again, it just makes it really enjoyable to be progressing your account up, getting that rounded kind of skills across your account, ready to take on the next kind of pinnacle Grandmaster quest on this game. So looking forward to that. I don't even know what the major unlocks are. I know there's tons of major unlocks from this quest. So I'll be looking into that, and I'm kind of on my way to completing that very soon. So those are the 3 main Grandmaster quests that I kind of put on my list to do. Before that, obviously, was getting Barrow's Gloves, but Monkey Madness 2, is also on my list as well. There's been some major Grandmaster quests that have been released over the past few years, and for me personally, as a Mainscape player, I really like just putting that on my goals, and it just gives me a nice kind of variety to pursue, lots of content to go through. The next kind of goals on my list is to get my combat skills up further. So I've only really got like 99 strength, and the rest of my stats are in the 80s range. So I would really like to pursue that, but I want to kind of casually play through the game. And one way of doing that effectively is through doing Slayer. It gives a lot of variety, and I do enjoy Slayer as a whole. So I would like to try and get into it. I'm doing a lot of pre-unlocks though to make Slayer more enjoyable and have better items. So for example, I'm going through some Diaries at the moment, which again gives a lot of variety. And I'm exploring the world, such as doing the Kourend hard diary achievements in order to get the Ash Sanctifier, which effectively buries ashes for you and gives you prayer experience when you're on a task. So just little things like that. I'm going to be going for the Bone Crusher as well. Many will know what that is. You're on a task, it'll automatically bury bones of the foes that you've defeated, and that'll again give you prayer experience. So just little things like that. I'm going to get those 2 items and then kind of delve into Slayer here and there, see how to do it pretty optimally but casually at the same time. What really interests me is understanding kind of what tasks to be skipping, which ones to put on the block list. I am using Joradel straight away, with me being a high enough combat level. I'm looking forward to getting some AoE tasks now that they've released new content, such as the Catacombs in Kourend, where a lot of it is multi-combat. So you can stack up mobs such as Abyssal Demons, the upgraded versions of those, and you can stack them up and use AoE setups. The 2 main AoE setups I want to be using and getting into. So first off, Bursting. I've already unlocked all of that, and it's pretty low entry to get into that, so I can easily do that. The second one, however, has a higher barrier to entry in terms of cost, and that's the range setup with the Venator bow. Now this is a new bow that's came out. The slang for it's the Veni bow, and this thing looks amazing. So that's my next goal, is to obtain the Venator bow, which is like an AoE bow. It has like an AoE attack where it can hit up to 3 other enemies, or 2 to 3 other enemies around you. So again, you can stack it up. It's a bit like Bursting, and you can get a ton of range XP. You can smash out AoE Slayer tasks with a Dwarf Cannon if you can put the cannon down as well. And that sounds really fun to me. So that's my next thing, to become a ranger effectively in this game, get a nice range setup. Would love to get the Crystal Armor kind of set bonuses going as well at some point. And that'll get my range and magic levels up, my constitution, and my Slayer level. Late game Slayer sounds really enjoyable as well, in terms of unlocking boss Slayer tasks, going to Cerberus and various bosses like that, Hydra. So yeah, lots of fun content to do at late game there as well. So yeah, the Kourend Diaries, I mean, I've heard they are going to be removing favor with this new mid-level zone and expansion they're releasing in early 24 called Valamore, I think it's called. However, I want to do it now, so I have been getting 100% reps or the certain reputation threshold that I've needed to complete the hard Diaries. That in itself does unlock these summoning creatures called Thralls as well that a mate was telling me about. They're really powerful. They're effectively like upgraded Dreadnips, you could say. Yeah, really accurate, hit low but extremely accurate, so they're just constantly hitting your enemies. So I definitely want to unlock Thralls as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So the main things that I've completed are obviously those Grandmaster quests. I've been doing a bit of Slayer here and there, getting my other skills up. Next immediate thing will be to finish that up and get the Ash Sanctifier, go and get the Bone Crusher, do some more Slayer in between, getting construction to 83 to get the pool and the jewelry box. That in itself will just help with PVM trips such as Vorkath, so I can keep teleporting to my house, let's say relocate that to Relica, and then just instantly rejuvenate my stats, teleport again where I need to go, and just farm out some content there for some chill GP per hour. My next immediate priority after that is definitely, or during that, is to get a range setup going with a Venator bow. I just need to see what's viable and get some money for that. I have also managed to get into raids, so I've started learning raids. I uploaded like my first experience of that on my channel. Really fun, Tombs of Amascut, really fun raid. I've obviously got serious entry level stats, but I'm still able to do it. Obviously I have a couple of good mates and viewers who are able to participate, and that makes it a lot easier. Obviously they can carry on the point side. But overall, trying to carry my weight, really enjoying the content. Again, it gives you more goals to kind of go up in the invocation level. Yeah, lots of flexibility in what you can choose. Yeah, loads of still to learn. Managed to get a rare drop. So Nath Turner, who's a really top Iron Man, he managed to get the Missouri top. Luckily, he's already got it on his Iron Man, so he's able to trade us some money from his alt account. So we were able to get a split. Which is really kind of him to do that. So yeah, we managed to get a Missouri top split, which was 19 million GP. So already managed to have the experience of getting a purple/rare split. So really happy about that, and hopefully plenty more to come. So tons of fun content to be had in the raids area of the game. I also managed to get the thread drop on my third successful raid completion. I do need to get like 75 crafting for that. In order to upgrade and use that on the rune pouch with a needle, and that'll allow the rune pouch to hold up to 4 runes rather than just 3. So that's a really nice unique collection log drop there again. So yeah, thanks a lot guys for watching today's video. If you did enjoy the progress, I do stream some of it over on my Twitch channel, so do check that out. Let me know down below if you want to see any more Old School Pros videos. Take it easy and good luck with your goals, and have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.